personally, I wouldn't be mad if I never see Terrence fight again. The way he performed, getting ready to be 38, I think, in a few days. Man, what better way to go out? What better way to tell the game goodbye?
Andre Ward just dropped a statement that has the entire boxing community talking. According to the former champion, Terrence Crawford walking away from the sport at nearly 38 years old represents the absolute perfect ending to an extraordinary career.
I was arguing with Max on the way to the venue about Boots Ennis. Nah, we don't go fight Canelo and then go back and fight Boots Ennis. I saw a report today, somebody was talking about him going up to light heavyweight. Nah, we don't go up to light heavyweight. We just went up 3 weight classes since the Spence fight and 2 weight classes since the Madrimov fight, my last fight. This is the perfect send-off, Roy.
Yep.
In my opinion.
Ward emphasized that after climbing through 3 different weight divisions and achieving everything imaginable in boxing, there simply are no worthwhile battles remaining for Crawford to pursue. The legendary fighter believes that attempting to face younger contenders or pushing his body into even heavier weight categories would only diminish the pristine legacy that Crawford has built over his remarkable 17-year professional journey. Ward went even deeper into what makes Crawford such a unique figure in modern boxing. He painted a picture of Crawford as someone who belongs to a vanishing generation of fighters, warriors who step into the ring, driven purely by an internal need to establish their greatness rather than chasing social media validation or building an online following. In today's boxing landscape, where many athletes focus heavily on becoming commercial draws and accumulating followers across various platforms, Crawford stands apart as someone whose sense of worth comes from the respect of fellow fighters and his own unwavering desire to prove he stands at the pinnacle of the sport.
I've never seen nothing like this in the sport of boxing. If you see responses from fans, they don't even argue who's better anymore. They're arguing who's the A side and who's not. Who's a draw and who. Y'all don't know a left hook from a fish hook, and you talking about who's the draw and who's the A side. That's the point that I'm making. It's not about proving. When you say young fighters don't want to prove, and there's still a few out there, and I think the Terrence Crawfords of the world, I think he's one of the last of a dying breed. When you say prove, question is prove to who? Because if I can prove to my 500, 1 million, 2 million, 4 million followers, as long as they believe that I'm a GOAT and that I'm him and that I've done enough and everybody's ducking me, that's enough. That's the validation that helps cats sleep good at night.
Yeah.
The validation that yourself, myself, and other people was after was, number one, me. I gotta feel comfortable living with me. I gotta walk around and live with myself and be like, bruh, are you really him? Then it's my people, my coach, my goddaddy, my circle. I gotta look my kids in the face and I want them to know that my daddy the best fighter in the world. The real answer is, what do your peers say about you? How do they feel about you? Because most of the time, unless there's some personal stuff going on, a fighter gonna keep it 100. Yep. Fans can say what they want to say. You didn't fight nobody. A fighter will come in and say, you tripping. He fought this guy, that guy, this guy, this guy. The validation is from the fan base. The validation is from your followers. As long as they feel like you the guy, that's enough. So we're not even on an even playing field right now when we start talking about proving something to somebody, because the proving is social, YouTube, my platform is not the world anymore.
The announcement of Crawford's retirement came on December 16th, sending shockwaves through the boxing world. The undefeated champion, who maintained a flawless 42 wins without a single loss throughout his entire professional tenure, declared that he had accomplished everything he set out to achieve in boxing. The timing of this announcement came just 3 months after his monumental triumph over Canelo Alvarez on September 13th of this year, a victory that secured his place in boxing history as the only fighter in the four-belt era to capture undisputed championships across 3 separate weight classes. Following that historic achievement, Crawford took what he described as the longest break of his boxing career before ultimately deciding to hang up his gloves permanently.
We have to cover the breaking news. Terrence "Bud" Crawford has announced his retirement. Dude, Terrence Crawford retiring makes all the sense in the world to me. I mean, the guy has literally accomplished the biggest thing you can possibly accomplish in boxing, and that's being on Mount Rushmore. I mean, not only did he end on top by being the best fighter in the world, he is a long-lasting fighter. I mean, he's knocking on 39 years old. It's appropriate. And with all the things that he's accomplished and everything that he's gone through as of late, as far as being stripped of the titles and everything like that, it makes sense for him to go ahead and bow out and say that I'm done. And he ends his career as being one of the greatest fighters to ever do it. So shout out to Terrence Bud Crawford.
However, not everyone in the boxing industry is convinced that Crawford's retirement announcement should be taken at face value. Eddie Hearn expressed considerable skepticism about the finality of Crawford's decision. When asked about the retirement announcement during an interview, Hearn suggested that there might be layers to this story that the public is not yet aware of. He questioned whether this retirement could be part of a larger negotiation strategy, acknowledging that his suspicious nature comes from years of understanding how the boxing business operates behind closed doors. Despite recognizing these physical truths, Hearn could not shake his intuition that something else might be at play. Drawing from his extensive experience in the sport, he speculated that Crawford might be seeking an exit from an existing contract or attempting to gain stronger leverage in future negotiations. Hearn admitted that this devious thinking is simply part of his professional responsibilities and comes from witnessing countless similar situations throughout his career in boxing promotion.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, you never know the background to these things, you know. Is it part of a wider negotiation? That's just me knowing the game. Are there lingering injuries, which might be more likely, you know, where every camp, what's he, 38 years old, 39? But every camp gets very, very hard. For the boxing world, and even for fight fans, it's not frustrating because it's his decision, but he's now reached that superstar status. You kind of want him to keep going, and it wasn't like his performance against Canelo showed signs of aging or anything like that, but he's also made a lot of money. What a time to bow out on top. You know, a lot of fighters have one too many. So maybe he feels like the way my body is, maybe I'll get beat and I don't need to get beat. I've got everything I've got. Or maybe he had a contract to fight someone else, but if he retires, he's not in that contract anymore, or it will give him greater leverage to negotiate a deal. That's just me.
Still, Hearn was careful to acknowledge what he considers the most probable explanation for Crawford's decision. He recognized that Crawford's body might genuinely be signaling that the time has come to step away from competition. While Crawford's fight intelligence and ring awareness remain at an elite level, the simple reality of being nearly 40 years old means that even the greatest fighters eventually need to listen to what their bodies are telling them. Hearn expressed this understanding with considerable respect, noting that it makes little sense for someone of Crawford's stature to risk his legacy by facing dangerous young contenders who are rising through the ranks.
But it all depends on his body. I mean, that, you know, I wasn't being facetious before, but like, you never know the landscape of this, but more likely he's thought this is a good time to bow out, or got a few niggles and I don't think I should fight anymore. But if physically he's able, he's one of the greatest fighters of all time. So his IQ's on another level, but what is there to do? Like, he's not going to want to go and fight, I don't know, Jaron Ennis. Like, he's going to look at that and go, well, I'm going to fight a 28-year-old coming through, I'm giving you my legacy. Do you know what I mean?
The respect Crawford earned from his peers was evident in the response from Artur Beterbiev. Through his social media account, Beterbiev expressed admiration for Crawford's unprecedented achievement of becoming the first undisputed champion across 3 weight classes in professional boxing history while maintaining an undefeated record. He posted, "It's incredible to become the first undisputed champion in 3 weight classes in the history of professional boxing and did it undefeated. Some might even think that such achievements are impossible, but Terrence Crawford did it. Congratulations on such a historic career." Roy Jones Jr. added his voice to the chorus of respected fighters praising Crawford's decision. The legendary Jones declared that Crawford's choice to retire represents both a beautiful and intelligent decision. Jones emphasized that Crawford has absolutely nothing remaining to prove in the sport of boxing, having already demonstrated his greatness beyond any reasonable doubt.
Would you believe that Crawford's really retired?
I do.
Well, what do you think about his issue with the WBC sanctioning?
I don't want to talk about it. It ain't got nothing to do with me. It wasn't me. I don't know enough about it to talk about it, so I know that I do have respect for WBC, WBA, IBF, and WBO. So I always respect him. I always did what I had to do. And without those guys, we would never known who the champions were. So I can't say nothing against them. He may have his own personal vendetta with him. I don't know enough about it to say whether he was right or wrong. So, it's what it is.
Roy, who's the best fighter in boxing right now?
Right now, if he retires, if Terrence retires, it's got to be Usyk.
Who?
Usyk.
Usyk is the best.
Without a question. If Terrence retires, it's got to be Usyk now.
Stephen A. Smith characterized Crawford as a special pound-for-pound champion who is walking away from boxing at the absolute peak of his abilities following a spectacular career. Smith acknowledged that while Crawford's brilliance in the ring is beyond question, his retirement will inevitably lead to endless hypothetical debates about how he would have performed against all-time greats like Floyd Mayweather or Sugar Ray Leonard. Nevertheless, Smith argued that Crawford deserves to be celebrated and revered for his contributions to boxing and for consistently delivering outstanding performances without ever shortchanging the fans who supported him throughout his journey.
He's taken on all comers, and he's taken all of them out. He is spectacular. He's the best pound for pound. He's been a tribute and a testament to the sport of boxing, and he should be not just applauded, not just celebrated, but revered because he's that special. My props to him. If indeed this is it and we'll never see him fighting again, thank you for all you've done for boxing, Terrence Crawford, because he never cheated us.
Not everyone is convinced that Crawford's retirement will be permanent. Rolly Romero expressed a strong gut feeling that Crawford will eventually return to boxing despite retiring after his significant victory over Canelo Alvarez. While Romero could not identify a specific reason or potential opponent that might lure Crawford back into the ring, he remained firmly convinced that this retirement is not the final chapter of Crawford's boxing story.
Terrence Crawford, brother, just retired. Just what are your thoughts on that? He retired obviously on top, biggest win of his career against Canelo.
I got a feeling he'll be back.
You got what?
I got a feeling he'll be back. Still got a feeling.
Who would he come back against? Why would a Terrence Crawford come back at this point?
I don't know. I got a feeling. When you got a feeling, you just got a feeling, you know? You ever just have a feeling?
Sometimes. Yeah.
Ryan Garcia echoed similar sentiments, suggesting that Crawford is employing a strategic approach similar to what Floyd Mayweather executed by stepping away from the sport with full intentions of eventually returning. Garcia acknowledged Crawford's intelligence and greatness as a fighter while expressing confidence that fans will see the champion back in the ring at some point in the future. This perspective suggests that Crawford's retirement might be more of a strategic pause than a permanent farewell.
What did you think about Crawford retiring? Hey, I don't think he's really retiring though. Maybe he's having up a J. Cole fight. No, he's doing the Mayweather thing. Oh, coming back. He'll be back. He'll be back.
Tim Bradley, who actually shared the ring with Crawford, offered perhaps the most informed perspective on Crawford's abilities. Bradley described Crawford as the most skillful and talented fighter he has ever faced, placing him in the same conversation as Manny Pacquiao. He characterized Crawford as a legendary figure whose technical brilliance was apparent long before he achieved recognition as an all-time great. This first-hand testimony from someone who experienced Crawford's abilities up close carries significant weight in assessing his place in boxing history.
Crawford is the most talented fighter that I've ever been in the ring with, right along with Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao was a savage. He was definitely savage, but Crawford, skill for skill, I ain't never been in the ring with nobody more skillful than Crawford. This is history. This is a GOAT before he became the GOAT. And you gotta see how he was before he got to where he is now.
Amir Khan, another fighter who faced Crawford in the ring back in April of 2019, also shared his thoughts on the retirement. Speaking with The Ring magazine, Khan referred to Crawford as a legend in boxing who will always be remembered among the greatest fighters ever. Khan revealed that he had seen Crawford just 2 days before the retirement announcement at a boxing event in Dubai organized by the IBA, and Crawford had not mentioned anything about retiring. Khan had even asked Crawford about his next fight because he wanted to attend, speaking as both a friend and someone who loves watching high-quality boxing. Khan reminisced about training alongside Crawford for an extended period and how Crawford had traveled all the way to the mountains to train with him, creating memories that would stay with Khan forever.
You know, Terrence is such a legend in the sport of boxing, and I was always going to be remembered as one of the greats. I saw him 2 days ago in Dubai at the boxing event, at the IBA event, and I never mentioned one little thing. I'm now asking him who's going to fight next because I want to be there. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I'm a friend and I love boxing and I love seeing good boxing, and obviously been training alongside him for a long time, and him taking the time out to come all the way to the mountains to train with me. You know what I mean? That's something that's always going to stay with me. A guy like him who, when he was pound for pound in my last fight, he flew over all the way to Omaha, and from Omaha up in the hills. Where are the hills again?
Colorado Springs.
Yeah. And he came just to train with me and to help me and support me. You know what I mean? That's what you call a champion. that respects other people as well, other champions. And that's one thing about Terence Crawford. He's always respected all the champions, all his peers, all his partners, all his gym mates. And he's going to be missed. Great legend of a guy. Not only what he did, what he's like in the ring. People know how good he is in the ring, but what he's like outside the ring is more humbling. There's a big difference between him and Mayweather. There's a big difference between him and the other fighters I've been around. Terence is a lovely guy who is very respectful and is a family man.
Max Kellerman provided perhaps the ultimate tribute to Crawford's dominance throughout his career. Kellerman asserted that Crawford belongs to an extremely rare category of fighters whose superiority was so complete and overwhelming that fans will forever debate whether anyone could have actually beaten him. He highlighted that across 40 professional fights spanning 5 different weight classes, Crawford's dominance was so obvious and absolute that there was never any genuine uncertainty about the outcome as his fights entered their final rounds. This level of consistent superiority places Crawford in truly elite company among the greatest fighters in boxing history.
There are some guys who people who lived through their eras will say, you ain't beating that guy. Yeah. And Terence Crawford's one of those guys. He's one of those guys. The people who watched him through this era will swear up and down no one could have ever beaten him. And they have a good case. Like, he was, no one really competed with him. He had over 40 professional fights through 5 weight classes. Yeah. And you were never watching a Crawford fight, and here it is in the 11th round, and you're going, I wonder if he's going to win this fight.
Yeah. The consensus among boxing experts, former opponents, and fellow champions seems clear. Regardless of whether this retirement proves permanent or temporary, Terence Crawford has established himself as one of the most accomplished and dominant fighters of his generation. His technical brilliance, strategic intelligence, and ability to excel across multiple weight classes while maintaining an unblemished record represents an achievement that few fighters in history have matched. Whether he chooses to stay retired or eventually returns to the ring, Crawford's legacy as one of boxing's all-time greats is firmly established and beyond dispute.